Hi folks, Puffin here. Thank you for watching. Today I want to talk to you about the pillow revolution. Depending on when you're watching this, it could have already happened, but I'm now making this video before the pillow revolution has happened. So hopefully in a few short months, years or so, the pillow revolution will have already happened. It'll be like a historical event. You can look back on this as the beginning of the pillow revolution. I actually started hashtagging and talking about this years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, because it's all the same issues that have been going on. Right now it's police brutality. We need to end police brutality. And we need to end militarism, because police brutality is really an offshoot, a symptom of militarism and racism, the institutional racism. It's all part of militarism. It's all part of fascism, ultimately. And we've seen the extremes of that lately with Trump. But we need a revolution to end that, just like Thomas Jefferson said, a good democracy needs a good revolution to shake things up every 20 years or so. And so we're seriously overdue. We're overdue for about 10, 11, or 12 revolutions. So one good revolution is the pillow revolution. And the reason it's called the pillow revolution is because it's soft and gentle and pleasant, and you can do it from your bed. It's a revolution you can have in bed. Now, lots of respect to all the people who have been protesting in the streets. For me, with the virus, I was not going to be in the streets. Lots of people probably feel the exact same way. So I've been urging in videos that the President Joe, pursue these cop terrorists and Trump terrorists of all types, whether they're in uniforms or in MAGA hats, but get these cops arrested, put away, really aggressively go after them to satisfy the protesters and the people. Because otherwise, when you solve the virus, the protests are going to grow exponentially. There's going to be so many people who join the protest, it's going to be like something you've never seen before. So you really want to be working hard, not just Derek Chauvin for killing George Floyd and the other cops for killing George Floyd. You need to be working hard to get a lot of these cops arrested and in jail before you finish solving the virus problem, because the streets will be flooded with people. And while you're out there, you might want a pillow, both as a sign of the pillow revolution and, maybe even if you already have a mask on, a pillow might, I don't know, I'm not a doctor and I have no experience with this. I'm just suggesting that a pillow, since it's been a symbol that I came up with a long time ago, how would it fit into what's going on now? It might fit into people breathing to block some of the tear gas, blocking your face from some of the tear gas. It might fit into blocking, a pillow might help with rubber bullets. I'm not saying it's going to stop one, but it might help some of the impact from rubber bullets. So having pillows, and then the honest truth is people are going to be in the streets because they want to protest. And unfortunately, a lot of people are going to be in the streets because they don't have a place to live. With homelessness skyrocketing in America and people could use pillows, like if we have pillows out on the streets for people to use to sit down on or to sleep with when they need them, to protect themselves with if possible, and as a symbol, then I can see the pillow revolution being something that takes place in the streets. But in the way I envisioned it since the beginning, it was always something you do in bed. Like, you can online do enough stuff. We saw the Russians do this. We saw the Russian troll factories do enough stuff to sway our elections and sway the Brazilian elections and sway the Indian elections to get people who would promote the Trump virus as much as possible and kill as many people as they could. They succeeded in that largely with Facebook's help. Facebook definitely helped. Facebook tried to help and helped. So that's Facebook's agenda too. We need to arrest Mark Zuckerberg and seize all his property and nationalize Facebook so that all nations can have their own Facebook, and we can have a United Nations Facebook. But Zuckerberg doesn't need to have a Facebook anymore. He needs to have a jail cell. And, so it's like we need that type of revolution where we take over the institutions, okay? Where we turn things over from being the way they've been, just with our voices and our expressions, just the way democracy was envisioned to be. It doesn't have to be, or it shouldn't be violent. The whole point is to avoid violence. And for that matter, war in general, we can cut it out. We can just get rid of war, right? But why am I advocating a revolution if I want war? Well, it's a pillow revolution. It's a soft, gentle revolution. You've heard these things before. These terms apply to different revolutions, a velvet revolution, some type of different revolution that are softer and gentler, because they take over somehow through the means of power that exist. A version of this is happening right now. I mean, you've got like the Robin Hood traders with GameStop taking over the stock market. That can continue. Thank you, Pillow Revolution. You can do that from home. You can do some day trading from home and participate in, punishing companies for being greedy, controlling everything just by organizing enough people to do it. Now, on the other side, the fascists like Trump and the KKK and the Republicans are trying to punish corporations for supporting Major League Baseball moving the All-Star game out of Georgia after Georgia passed voter suppression laws. It's only right. Everybody should do everything they can. I'm from Georgia. I support Georgia as much as you can. I support the people in the land of Georgia. I support, it's hard to support the government when the government goes bad. So, they deserve that criticism. And they're all whining about, well, what about the jobs lost? Hey, they're bringing it here to Colorado where I live now. Jobs for people in Colorado, business for people in Colorado. Although Colorado is not going to take as much of advantage of it because we have more sensible restrictions here. But still, it's a lot of business. It's a lot of money. And it'll spread out, even if people at 30% capacity here or whatever, 25% capacity they can do, it'll just spread out to more people. But anyway, my point is that this is forming a revolution even in the corporate world. There was some recent, I forgot what the issue even was, but the corporation said, we're not going to be donating to any political candidate for another year or two, or whatever. We're going to cut off all our donations to politicians after this scandal. Well, now Mitch McConnell, I heard on the radio, is trying to tell them, don't get involved in politics. Politics is not your job. Your job is not to be involved in politics. So I need pillows on my cheeks to do that. But your job is not to be involved in politics, corporations. Well, then cut him out, the Republicans have been supported by corporations, not by people. So if they're going to buck them off over not being able to pass voter suppression laws, basically they're going to lose either way. And more people can feel their power and influence corporations to boycott Republicans, boycott Republican states, whatever, but take it away. And so in a war, people destroy things and then rebuild what's left, in their own fashions. We can just rebuild what we've already got in our own fashions without destroying anything. That's the beauty of a pillow revolution. So you change everything. Like I've introduced the Church of Judas to completely oppose militarism and completely rally all Christianity around getting rid of all armies, all military, and that includes all cops. So it becomes a completely revolutionary thing where we change the entire system kind of from the inside out, and we radically alter what we've had to something new. And when we've had, for instance, like the flame of freedom, a beacon of hope, a land of immigration, when that's what America has stood for all the time, and they had some fake American ditto, trying to say those things but never actually standing for them, and you show that there's a real Charmander underneath, there's a real flame of hope and liberty in America. That's the kind of revolution we can have. And it can be cuddly, and it can be sweet, and it can be nice and fun. And we don't need violence. And the whole point is to be against violence. And when you can conduct a revolution without any violence, which we have like the internet capability to do now. We have the app for that. Check out my band Fox and our song Handheld Device, but other songs as well. We have an app for that. We can revolt against this evil racist system and get everything good out of it, everything that's set up here, the land and the people and the infrastructure and stuff, and the government. We can even make the government good. That's the whole point of democracy. It is what we make it. So we can turn it around. We can be the ones who steer the ship. And we can steer it into a whole new harbor. Instead of this fascism and war, we can steer it to peace and goodness. And watch us do it. When I've been saying this all this time, it's like you want some big event to happen, but you also want every little event to happen. And that's what's great about a pillow revolution that encourages everyone to do what you can from bed. Stay in bed. Don't go back to work if you can help it. Don't participate in this stuff if you can help it. Start forming a whole new culture, a shadow system to replace the system that we have, because we're going to need like new cops, we're going to need new new workers in the fields that we're currently using just to abuse people. We might not really need cops, but we need like new people to be doing things to help, to be doing what these people were supposed to be doing. So we turn it all around. We turn it around from the inside with peace and goodness and love. And that's the key. So we are going to have a revolution here in America, but it's going to be so soft and gentle you might not even really notice it. But I do think if we call it a pillow revolution and expect that and hold ourselves to that standard, then that's the way it's going to be. And it's easy enough. Violence and stuff are dramatic and they get a lot of attention, but we can get a lot of attention and use the attention better with nonviolent means and using the internet. We kind of got to wrest it back from some people that are currently using the internet and mainstream media for fascism. We have to wrest it back from them. But one way of doing that is to make this shadow side and make the shadow side stronger. So if we can get more companies to join in, starting on these major issues like the Jim Crow voting laws is a good breaking point to break them off of the fascists. But then, show them some support, show new company support. One nice ironic thing about the pillow revolution, like I said, I came up with this term a decade ago. Well, just this year with the Trumper, My Pillow guy, getting pursued by the FBI and like on the run for avoiding, trying to spread Trump lies about stuff, and being sued by the voting companies for spreading lies about their stuff. Well, also David Hogg, the survivor of the Parkland shootings in Florida, had left the Parkland organization to form his own company, Good Pillow, to go directly against the market of the My Pillow guy, who's supports Trump, to support sustainable pillow production and to support good causes with the money they make. This is one example, but you can do this with ice cream. Well, Ben & Jerry's was a good ice cream for that, stuff like that. There's, you can do this with everything. You can do this with amusement parks. You can do this with baseball. You can say, hey, you know what? Baseball is now for anti-fascists. Sorry, fascists. Go watch hockey. Actually, don't go watch hockey. Don't go, go to school to learn to not be fascists, And that's where this really comes down to, is we can stop what's become a fascist system by changing it with love and kindness, but also with, the pressure that we have. Say, hey, we want to give our support and attention, our monetary support, our attention, our enthusiasm to a good company. We want to say a good company is a company that stands with people, that says Black Lives Matter, that says, environment is something we need to have, we need to save, and that voting protections are something we need to have and we need to save. So we can get behind the companies that do that. Let the other ones go to the wayside. We do not need them. If the oil companies and stuff are the worst, or some of the biggest ones, the military contractors or whatever themselves are some of the biggest ones for the Republicans, we don't need them at all. We don't need military at all. Let that sink in. And then we don't need oil companies anymore. We can just redo it with green power. And thanks, President Joe, for setting up like offshore wind farms or whatever. But I do feel like there's a whole lot of other stuff we can do once we really get into it, by supporting companies, by forming new companies. So if you have an idea, get together with different people, crowdsource that idea, make it happen. Like I want to make Wokens, a new cryptocurrency that can only be used on woke and sustainable businesses. Just show how much power there is in the desire to have a currency based on principles. You wipe all the other ones out. You take it over, and you take it over without any sort of violence, just simply providing a better idea, letting that better idea get out there and rise to the top. What I understood democracy to be from the beginning. So we have to change some things to make it happen, but those things will all change as we work together if we have this goal. And I love this phrase. I hope you do too. And I hope that people find some comfort in it and goodness in it and call it a pillow revolution like they have various other movements. But the pillow revolution is soft, and you can do it in your sleep. So let's do it. Let's take it over, and let's make it good. Thank you, and thank you for watching. Have a great day.